Hey, y'all. How are y'all doing? It is such an incredible honor to be here with you at the close of yet another amazing That Conference. And I'm going to ask you something silly. We started out, those of you that were here in the beginning, to stand up. So I would like for all of you to now stand up. And you know, we started out with the power pose, right? It gives us energy. I would like for us to end with the victory pose. All right, get your hands up. You have made it to the finish line. This is now the end. The end is in sight. Now, with the little bit of remaining energy that you have, I want to have one final applause for the sponsors, for the folks that worked here, for the Kalahari, and for everything that went on behind the scenes that made this event possible. And I want the people in the lobby to hear it and go, what is going on down there? So 1, 2, 3, go! Yes. Okay, whoa. Save a little energy for me, all right? So, Clark, I hope this gives you some goosebumps. I am so excited to share with you some things that I hope will inspire and encourage all of you. Or as we say in the South, all y'all. You know, there's you, one person, there's a group of you called, we say y'all, and then when we mean everybody, it's all y'all. And it's such an incredible privilege to be here speaking not only to the conference attendees, but the camp mates and the geeklings. It's so cool. Now, at my previous company, we had this thing about punching bears. It's about doing hard things and doing things that are kind of scary and taking on the big challenges. And it was part of our mantra. We would say, get out there and punch some bears today. Now, in real life, punching bears is probably not such a great idea, as it'll just provoke the bear to maul you even worse than before. Now, this has nothing to do with the talk that I'm giving you. I just thought you would want some free advice. Like me, some of you are really excited about the content that you've been soaking up and having these great conversations in the open spaces. And, you know, like Gonzo in the Muppet movie, I hope you've met some old friends that you just met. But some of you may, on the other hand, be a little bit anxious or feeling a bit overwhelmed because there's all this technology and all these new things that you're having to learn. And you're thinking, how am I going to learn all this new stuff? How am I going to convince my boss to let me do any of this new technology or to try things? And now I'm up here to give you a whole bunch more stuff to think about. So what could we talk about? Well, we could talk about where we see technology going in the next 5 years, but that would be about as accurate as the weather forecast. Or we could talk about the latest JavaScript framework that was just created last week that is now taking over the entire internet. You should just forget everything that you learned and start on the new thing. IoT is a really hot topic. You should be connecting everything in your home to the cloud, right? And getting data analysis on everything. No, we shouldn't. What I want and what I hope to give you is a bigger lens to see your world. I want you to walk away with a bigger and better perspective of your life. So, I am here to tell you that you are awesome. Now, you may not believe that. You may have not realized that yet, but you were born with some pretty awesome skills, with some pretty amazing tools. Unfortunately, we have to deal with lies. And as we get older, there are more and more lies that sneak into our lives, into our heads, and into our hearts. And there are lies that people have told us. There are lies that the world has told us. And there's lies that we have told ourselves. We've compared ourselves to others, and we think that we don't measure up. And that's hogwash, all right? We need to stop listening to those lies. So, allow me to speak some truth to you for a few minutes. And as I give you this, I want you to repeat those things in your head, and I want you to repeat them to your heart. This may be some foreign territory for some of you. I want to start out by saying you are smart. You are strong. You are beautiful. You can sing. May not be pleasant for everyone, but you have a voice and you can make something beautiful. You are loved. You're loved right now. You deserve to be loved, and you will be loved in the future. You are not a failure. Mistakes are a critical part of life. And making mistakes doesn't make you a failure. Behind every successful person is a burning trash heap of mistakes. You are not broken. Whatever that thing is that makes you different also makes you extraordinary. You are wonderful. You matter to someone. You are valuable, far more valuable than anything else in the world. You are never too far gone. Don't give up on yourself. You belong. You are amazing. And you are awesome. You're not defined by the lies that have come into your head. There's no need to compare yourself to other people. You are the most awesome person you've ever met. You were born with an insatiable desire to learn. You have the capacity to achieve far more than you can imagine. And you're never too young or you're never too old to learn something new. Creativity and imagination, it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And grown-ups, you still have these muscles. You just need to blow the dust off and start using them again. All right. What did the snail on the turtle say? Whee! You have within you a seed. And this seed goes by many labels, but some of those labels have a bit of baggage connected to them. So I want to give the seed that's in your heart a different name. It's your seed of awesome. Now, you'll know that you have this seed within you when you experience something and your heart gives a little jump or a little jolt. Your heart skips a beat. You know that there's something inside you that resonates with whatever it is that thing is. It jumps in your heart like a little jumping bean. But a jumping bean has a nasty little larva inside, and so that's really a terrible analogy. So instead, we're going to say our little seed, our little jumping bean contains something really special. Now, your seed is just dying to get out. Some of you know that you have something special inside you, but you're scared that the world might not like what you have. And some of you have forgotten about your seed. You've let the cares of this world and all the worries and attempts to be more of a grown-up all but kill your poor little seed. And it's not that all grown-up things are bad. It's just too much grown-up stuff can make you forget that there's real magic in the world. And you might be able to barely tell that your seed is there. But it is, and it's silently, quietly praying that you'll one day remember. Your seed is patiently waiting for your attention to be planted in good soil and watered and nurtured and encouraged. And with all the care and nurturing, it's going to grow and to blossom and burst forth in a magnificent living. Okay, maybe another terrible analogy. So 3.5 years ago, I discovered I had a seed within me for drawing that I didn't know I had. Okay, it was a little bit more like this. And once I discovered that, it's like, wow, I really want to do something like that. I want to use, drawings and illustrations. About 3 years ago, I was creating some slides for a technical talk, and I created this slide, or this illustration, and I was so proud of this illustration. It took me a long time to create something like this. And as some of you may recognize this as the ShamWow sales guy meme. And so when this came up on the screen at the talks that I gave, it would get a few chuckles, and I loved it. Right? That was what I was going for. Last year, I was going through some of my old slides, and I thought, you know what? I think I'll see if I can't refresh some of these drawings. I've gotten a little bit better, I think. And so I drew it again. And I looked at it, and I looked at the two drawings side by side, and I was flabbergasted. I could not believe what I was capable of doing, how far that I've come. Now, I'm not telling you this story to brag. I'm telling you that I am truly amazed that with the practice and the work that I've put into this skill, that I've been able to progress from drawing silly, poorly drawn stick figures to being able to draw something like that. And I believe, after seeing the progress that I've made, that it's reinforced the idea that if I can do this, anybody can do this. Now, somebody looks at that and says, wow, you are so gifted. And I say, no. It's not that's the gift. The gift is the seed that was planted that started the idea. The gift is every day that you're given. You have the choice that you can spend time investing in and growing whatever skills or whatever talent or whatever it is that inspires you. You can put that into that time that you're gifted into growing your own seed. I believe, without a doubt, whatever it is that you want to do, you can do it. There are 3 essential ingredients to accomplishing what it is that you want to do. It's okay to make mistakes. It's how you learn from them. Edison is famous for saying, I didn't fail. I found 10,000 ways not to make the light bulb. Sometimes it's hard to see our progress. But over time, as you stay determined and as you keep practicing and as you are patient with yourself, you'll one day realize just how far you've come. Now, what do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. You got it. So now that we've established that you're awesome, and some of you are thinking, yeah, that's right, I am awesome. Right on. So glad somebody around here starts to notice. It's not enough that you are awesome. You have a purpose. You can't just keep all that awesomeness to yourself, okay? You were created to share your awesomeness with other people. Like it or not, we are designed to live in community with one another. We are relational beings. We need each other. We need to share the things that make us awesome so that everyone else can benefit. Some of us are introverts, which makes living in community a little bit more challenging. I'm an introvert. I've taken the test to prove it. And multiple times, and it keeps telling me the same thing. And you might be thinking, well, you're up on stage, you've got some kind of, a little bit of sliver of extrovert, right? No, that's me. I believe in giving 110%. There's not a bit of extrovert in my entire being. Your purpose in life is actually pretty simple. Leave it better than you found it. Not just the planet, but every relationship. Your school, your workplace, your family, your friends, random people you meet at that conference. Leave every encounter, every situation better than you found it. Because people are watching. Your friends and your family and the students and coworkers, other parents, they notice how you react to situations, how you treat other people, what your character is like, how you take responsibility or not, how you keep your word or not, how you forgive others or not. They notice when you clean your room or not. So what do you call a bear with no teeth? A gummy bear. So you heard of the Dilbert principle? Well, the Dilbert principle is the most ineffective workers are systematically promoted to where they can do the least amount of harm, which is management. Early in my career, I worked under a manager who exemplified this Dilbert principle. I did not like the man personally or professionally, and his incompetence was legendary. There were things named after him, mistakes, and yet he still continued to rise in his rank and responsibilities. And a lot of the work that I was required to do under his direction was of no value to anyone. Case in point, I had to write documentation for every line of code, for every stored procedure, every method, and no one was going to read this, ever. Kids, you think writing book reports are hard? This was like 100,000 times worse, because you knew no one was ever going to use it. Meaningless and pointless work is soul-crushing. And I toughed it out for more than a year, and I did everything that I could to get out from under his control. But in the end, I decided to get a new job. I left the company. And I said to myself, life is too short to work somewhere that stinks. I started living by this philosophy, and I started giving it as advice to other people when I heard them complain about their work situations. And those of us in technology, we have this amazing privilege that we can pick and choose where we can work. There's such demand for us, and it's not that case in every profession. It's a huge luxury. The problem is, this idea began to pollute my thinking, that when things started to go sour at my job, I would think, oh great, here we go again, time to look for a new job. Now, years later, I was in a similar situation, and I was interviewing at other companies, and I had this really attractive job offer on the table. And so I asked my wife, her opinion about whether I should take the job. And that's when she asked me two questions that stopped me in my tracks. She asked, have you done everything that you can do? And if you left now, would you have any regrets? I didn't take that job. I went back and I gave the situation everything that I had. I did everything in my power to make my team successful. And in the end, I did leave that job 1 year later. But I left knowing that I had done everything I could. I left with no regrets, and I was proud of the work that we had accomplished. It had been one of the most prolific years in my entire career. And so I adopted this new mindset that life is too short to let things stay the way they are. I've learned that taking ownership and responsibility is the right thing to do. It's always the right time to do the right thing. You can make a difference that you don't even realize how much tremendous influence you have on other people, on your coworkers and your family and other students. There's all kinds of things you can do. There's limitless possibilities that you can be a positive influence on other folks. Create a family game night. Don't you just love Monopoly? Create some new traditions in your family, things that you can do on a regular basis that brings everyone together. Maybe you want to create a no cell phone policy at dinner time. Or maybe you don't have a dinner time. Maybe you need to start a tradition of of everyone in the family getting together and having a meal together without cell phones and other distractions. Take the things that you've learned here at that conference and start a brown bag lunch and learn at your company. Share with them some of the cool things that you've learned here. Invite one of your friends or one of your coworkers out for some coffee and ask them real questions. What's really going on? How are you really doing? Sit with someone at lunch who normally sits by themselves and get to know them. You might find out they're not so weird after all and that they're pretty awesome. Be someone who cares about justice, who will stand up for when you see something that's not right. Learn to honor and respect other people. Be kind and courteous, no matter what. Young men and older men, let me just tell you that any talk of another person's body or attractiveness in any situation outside of your own spouse is inappropriate and off limits. Don't you treat other people with respect. Young ladies, be kind, be brave, be persistent. What do you call a moose with carrots in its ears? Anything you want, really. It can't hear you. Mostly anything you want. Every now and again, we have to say goodbye to some really great people, some really, really good ones. And regardless of the circumstances, we let them know how much they're appreciated, how much we are going to miss them. And we sometimes, throw a party or tell stories about the awesome things that they'll be remembered for. Like, hey, remember that time at lunch when Julie made you laugh so hard that milk shot out of your nose? That was awesome. I'm going to really miss you shooting milk out of your nose. So one day it hit me. It just, after some folks that I really, really cared about left the company that I was working at, why can't we show this kind of appreciation all the time? Why can't we let people know when they do awesome things that you appreciate what they do and what they mean to you? Maybe if we told them how much they were valued and how awesome they were, they wouldn't be leaving, besides other circumstances. Well, I decided I was going to run an experiment at my company. I thought, well, I want to try to tell people that they're awesome, and I want to encourage other people to do it. So I ran this experiment where I would start on every Friday. I would post a drawing of one of my coworkers, and I would tell something about them, how they had impacted me, and how special they were. And this is one example. This is Nakota, who is our customer support manager. And as someone described, he does the work of 10,000 people. Nakota was consistently going above and beyond the call of duty to make our customers happy. And he is awesome. Now, the drawing that I created is not really that important. It's just something fun that I like to do. And what I said about each person was usually not all that incredible or inspiring. The real magic, and I want you to get this, the real magic was what everyone else said throughout the day, story after story, high fives and encouragement, and it was absolutely beautiful. All I did was simply start the conversation. This experiment lasted for about a year, and I had so many people thank me for how special it was to be honored and recognized in that way. You see that every one of us wants to know that the things we do matter, that our work and our position has significance, that we bring value. We want to know that we are valuable. Encouragement highlights a person's strengths. And so what does that person now want to do? They want to go and continue doing the awesome things that they've been recognized for. And if you know me, I can't go for very long without talking about bacon. So I submit to you that the highest award for excellence. So when you encourage someone, you give them this bacon award, or a group or a team, they will continue to improve and create amazing results. And then they will go on to inspire other people, and those people will go on to inspire others. Now, I grew up in a family where there wasn't a whole lot of encouragement being shared. And so encouragement doesn't come natural to me. This is a skill that I've had to learn. And I believe it's a skill that you can learn too. So let me show you. Imagine you have a friend or you know someone at work. You have a coworker named Mary. Mary, I want you to know that the database work that you do for our team is exceptional. We couldn't do what we do without you. You are always an incredible contributor to our team. Not only that, but you're always cheerful and smiling. You are such an encouragement to me and everyone around you. Thank you. Paul, thank you for always being willing to help. I know I can always count on you to help me when I'm stuck. It means a lot to me. You are awesome. Mark, thank you for always wearing deodorant and coming to work fully clothed. Keep up the good work. See, it's not that hard. So if there's someone in your life who has impacted you in some way, either recently or in the past, let them know about it. Don't wait. Let me take you back to 1982. Specifically, Thanksgiving 1982, to this very fateful event. So every year growing up, me and my siblings would get into the car, and my mom would drive us to my aunt and uncle that lived near Atlanta, Georgia. You probably couldn't tell I grew up in Georgia, right? And we would spend the entire day at my aunt and uncle's house celebrating Thanksgiving together. It's almost like a big family reunion. And on this particular Thanksgiving, I discovered that my cousin had a TRS-80. And I don't know if I spent the entire day at this computer, but I do know that it made quite an impression on my aunt and uncle. Sometime after Thanksgiving, my mom got a phone call, and we got in the car and we drove back to Atlanta. And there waiting for me was a cardboard box. And inside was a TRS-80, a cassette drive, a floppy drive, a dot matrix printer, and a whole bunch of cables, and this book, Getting Started with Color Basic. This one kind and very generous act launched me on a journey of computers and programming and a love for technology. Even the illustrations in this book surely inspired me, because as I started to see illustrations as an adult, it's something resonated. If I ever write a book someday, you can be sure I'm going to create some fun illustrations. I continue to be inspired by my aunt and uncle's example of investing not only in their family, but in countless lives. I can't thank them enough for the impact that they've had on me, my livelihood, and so many people like you that I've been able to share stories and have an impact on. You have an amazing opportunity to impact your family and your relatives and your community in ways that you can't even imagine. You never know if some act of kindness or a word of encouragement or a small investment of your time at a hackathon or a kids or a family track or something that may be the catalyst that launches a young person on their journey of exploration, joy, and livelihood. Remember that seed? As your seed grows, it will give you energy and confidence, and you might be brave enough to share it with the outside world. It's yours to freely share, and it's something that no one can ever take away from you. And the incredible, amazing paradox is that the more that you share, the more you get back. Before you know it, those people who once scoffed at your little seed will wonder how this beautiful creature, thing, whatever it is, how did this come into your possession? And they'll think, wow, you are really gifted. And you can tell them, no, you have a seed within you, probably more than one. It's a beautiful thing waiting for you to give it some love and to let it grow. Whatever it is that makes your heart jump, give it your love and share it with others. When you walk out of these doors today, you have a choice. You have a choice to continue learning and growing and to share your awesomeness with others. If you choose so, your adventure is only just beginning. This is my challenge to you. Regardless of your age, regardless of the amount of experience you have, your job, or whether you don't have a job, you have amazing potential to impact your workplace and your family and your school and your community and the entire world in significant, positive, and meaningful ways. Go maximize your talents. Go be courageous. Go inspire others. Go and be awesome. Thank you.